What's up YouTube, it's GhostRider15 here back at it again with another GOAT format video. And today's video is going to be a duel review between myself and Dueling High 101. Dueling High is a really good player. He recently won a GGP and we're going to be playing a Chaos Turbo Mirror. So without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. So he wins the RPS. He's going to be going first, obviously. So my opening hand is Dust Shoot, Ring, Upstart, Pot, and Tribe. Pretty good hand. So he starts off with Upstart, gives me 1,000. He thins out his deck. Just sets one and passes it to me. Exactly what I want to see. I start off with Pot and draw into Magician of Faith and Breaker. So after that, obviously I upstart to see my other option. Now my hand also has Night Assailant. I have a couple of options here. I can go with Tribe, Attack, and if it's a spy, I can just get rid of them. Or I can just set Faith and my back row and pass. But knowing that he still has 5 cards in hand, he didn't set anything. There's a high chance that he has a Nobleman of Crossout in his hand. So I like the Tribe play better. And obviously I'm not going to set Night Assailant because setting Night Assailant here is really bad. He already has a flip that he can gain advantage during his turn with. So that would be terrible for me. So I summon Tribe by attack, and it turns out that it is a spy, which is perfect for me. Now I can get rid of both of them. Here I discard Magician of Faith because I have Night Assailant, I can just get it back. Set Dust Shoot, set Break Pass. I activate Dust Shoot, and let's take a look at his hand. He has Sanguine, Grace, Sook, Breaker, Tribe, and Nobleman. So my read on Nobleman was correct. And here I'm going to decide to take back the Sanguine because if he normal Sanguine crashes into my Tribe, he can just get Night Assailant or Serpent to gain a lot of advantage. And I don't want that, so I send back the Sanguine to his deck. So he summons Sook, and I have the Regeki break for that. So I'm still good. Get back my Moth. And he just passes. So now I know he has the knock guaranteed in his hand. So what I'm gonna do is I am gonna do something pretty wild. I'm actually gonna end up setting my Breaker to bluff that it's a Moth. That way I bait it out and I can actually set my Moth the following turn. It's pretty crazy, it's a bit risky, but sometimes you gotta do those type of plays in GO format. But before that, I attack. I set my jar, set my ring, set my bluff breaker, and pass. Here he blind MSTs, and he hits the correct one, unfortunately. This could have gone really wrong for him because I also had a jar set. He would have went -1 on that if he ended up hitting the jar. But he got the ring, it is what it is. Now I'm the one that's in a bit of trouble because I have no protection for this breaker if he actually decides to attack this breaker. But the good thing is he doesn't know it's a breaker. There's a much higher chance of it being Moth. So he summons his own breaker, and now I can actually lose a lot of advantage here. But fortunately for me, he activates the effect, and I can chain the jar. And he decides to crash. And as soon as I see this, I'm so glad that my plan ended up working out because he fell for the bait. And now that I know his entire hand, I can safely set that Moth and attempt to resolve Pot of Greed. He would need a top deck to be able to stop this. He gracefuls because he's getting a little desperate here, knowing that my set is most likely to be Magician of Faith now. So he discards Faith and Jar, which tells me he wants to set up Light and Dark for BLS or Chaos Sorcerer. And I just really have to hope that it's not BLS. Because if it's BLS, I'm in big trouble. Like, I have nothing to stop that. If it's Sorcerer, I'm fine with that because Sorcerer can't banish Moth. And I also have Night Assailant if I really need to clear that Sorcerer. So it's not that bad if it's Sorcerer. I just gotta hope it's not BLS. And now he discards Thunder Dragon, which confuses me a bit because I thought the issue here was that he really needed a light. But he had Thunder Dragon to accomplish that. So I don't really understand now why he discarded Moth. It's a bit weird. So he sets one, passes it back to me. Standby. Main. I don't get hit by a Regeki break. And now I attempt to resolve Moth to get back Pot. Here I had the option of setting one of these monsters to try to play around Dust Shoot, but I don't think it's worth it because let's say I set a monster, right? And I activate Pot. I'm still going to be going back to 4 cards after I resolve the Pot. So it's not much of a difference. And I draw Sorcerer and Thunder. Pretty nice. Would have liked to see a trap card, but it is what it is. I just swing for damage before I reveal any information that I have Thunder. So I set, Deco pass. He just sets one and passes it back. It's looking really nice for me. I draw into Trap Dushu, which is perfect here. He has 3 cards in hand, and maybe he's going to be going to 4 if he doesn't Regeki break me or something like that. I resolve another Deco, and I draw into my own Regeki break. I switched them off to attack because doing 300 damage is not worth it. It's not like he's really low in life points. Also, Mirror Force just goes 2 for 1 here, which I don't want. So I set all my traps and my other Deco and pass. During his standby, I activate Shoot once again, and his hand is Shoot, Thunder, Thunder, Tribe. Obviously, I'm sending back the Tribe, so I just keep him with 2 dead Thunder Dragons in his hand. And the Shoot's not going to be a big deal because I do have Regeki Break if I need to stop that. So Tribe goes back to the deck. He sets his Dust Shoot, activates Jar after that, which I get because like he wants to play around a 3rd Dust Shoot, but the odds of that happening I think are really slim. So, you know, I don't think it was 100% necessary because like, I've already used 2 shoots. But yeah, anyways, he draws with Dust Shoot, or with Jar Greed, excuse me. The card he draws into is Sangan. He normal Sangan, and this is definitely telling me that he has Torrential set. And that's exactly what happens. A little unfortunate for me, but it's not the end of the world. I'm still up in card advantage and life points. He searches for Serpent, passes it to me. But on the end phase, I am going to hit that Dust Shoot. So I can not only get back my Moth, but still keep my Sorcerer in my hand. I draw into Upstart, I activate it, draw into BLS, which is amazing. But I decided to go with the sorcerer just because sorcerer is a bit less committal and a bit less scary because I don't want to lose the snatch steal, and I can't summon both BLS and sorcerer because that's not enough damage to go for game. So yeah. Also, I just didn't want to set them off and pass because I know his hand is really bad. So I need to put a clock, a pressure. I need to put pressure on him, and put him on a clock so I can go for game in a couple of turns. Because if I'm too patient, he's eventually gonna end up drawing his own graceful pot, duo, BLS. So I just need to start applying some pressure. So I set him off and pass. He draws. Sets a monster, sets a back row, passes it back to me. I draw Snatch Steal, which is nice. Obviously, it's not live here, but if anything goes wrong, it is there to save me, just in case. And Moth gets me back pot. I think this is the third time this game that I've resolved pot, which is insane. If that happens and your opponent can't stop it, you should be in a really good situation to win the game. So he just decides to scoop, which, I totally understand. Resolving 3 pots is broken. So that's game one. On to game two. He's going to go first. My hand is Breaker, Torrential Mirror, Deco, Thunder. Not the worst hand, but not the best hand. It's okay. It's playable. He starts off with his own Thunder. He only activates one Thunder, which tells me he drew 2 Thunder Dragons. So that's perfect for me. I love to see that. He sets one back row, one monster passes. On my turn, I draw Sorcerer for turn. So I have a couple of options here. I can go Breaker, attempt to pop, and attack. Or I can just go set Deco, set Mirror Force, pass. Uh, so first things first, I go with the Thunder Dragon. And after that, I just set the mirror, set the Deco pass. I feel like in the mirror match, Breaker's kind of iffy. And because everything's chainable, so you don't want to end up hitting like a Jar of Greed or a Ring or a Regeki break. I think you'd rather save the Breaker for when he becomes more valuable, such as like when you're trying to hit a snatch deal or when you're trying to go for game. So I just said Deco and pass, but he said MST, so this Breaker actually could have punished him. But I decided to go with the safer play. So now he flips up Spy, gets his other Spy from deck, summons it in attack mode, which tells me he's trying to put some damage. He attacks. I draw for Dekoichi, I take 12. And I draw into Sangan, which is pretty good here because I have Torrential in my hand. Sangan plus Torrential is always a really nice combination to prevent your opponent from getting really aggressive or at least punishing them for doing so. He sets one monster, one back row, passes it back to me. I draw pot, which is perfect. Now I'm the one that can start getting pluses here. I activate pot, resolve it, get Moth, and get another sorcerer. So here, I believe that I end up summoning Sangan and setting Torrential. Just because setting Moth is a lot more riskier because, Mind Control exists, Nobleman exists. So I think the play that I go with is the Sangan Torrential play, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I decided to set the Sengen, not summon Sengen. Setting Sengen is better because it also plays around mind control. He resolves Moth. It's just upstart that he gets, so it's not the worst thing ever. And I gain a bit of life. And here I'm just hoping that he commits to the field even more, but he doesn't. He just goes straight into the battle phase. And my Sangan is gonna get Sinister because two different reasons I'm getting Sinister here. Reason number one is that it protects me even more from Delinquent Duo. But reason number two is because I have Torrential set, which is also very strong with, just like Sangan. So if he commits even more to the field, I can normal this Serpent, flip up my own Torrential, and go crazy plus. So he sets a monster, passes it back to me. This is actually really nice because now I can just go like +3 with this Torrential. And sadly, his set is Sangan, so the Torrential wasn't as strong. But hey, it got rid of 2 spies and a moth. You know, I'll take it. He searches for Deco, and that gives me the vibe that he already has Sinister in his hand. And here, I'm gonna decide to go ahead and summon the Sorcerer because I have 7 cards in hand, and I don't want to discard any of them. So I might as well summon a Sorcerer and try to push for some damage. So I guess I can like discard a Thunder Dragon and it's not that bad, but at the same time it's like I get mega screwed over if he draws Delinquent Duo. So I decided to go ahead and try to make some use of this Sorcerer in my hand. You know, not the usual way you want to play your Sorcerers, but in this situation I think it's fine. I get hit by Ring, so it's a 1-for-1. He draws for turn. He normal summons the Koichi here, which, you know, I kind of understand because I have 6 cards in hand. And if you look at my graveyard, there's no knocks, there's no mind controls. So there's a good chance that there's a knock or a mind control in my hand. So I totally get it. It's not the worst thing to do, especially if you have like Tsukiyomi in your hand. This is definitely a viable play. So maybe he has Tsukiyomi in his hand. I don't know. But I take the 14 regardless. And he sets a back row and passes it back to me. I draw Dust Shoot. And here I actually end up making a misplay. It's not that big of a deal, but I end up forgetting my Serpent. This is very rare for me for it to happen to me, but it does happen here. And I go ahead and summon the Breaker, attempt to pop. It's Mirror Force, perfect. Now Breaker got some really nice value. And here I just weighing because before I commit this Sorcerer, I want to know what's in his hand with Dust Shoot. You know, I don't want to just lose to Snatch Steal. So I set Dust Shoot, pass. Then on his standby, I activate the Dust Shoot, and he has BLS, Sorcerer, Heavy, Double Thunder. If it wasn't for this Dust Shoot, I straight up lose this game. Because all he has to do is go Heavy Storm, summon BLS, that's game. But because I have this shoot, I basically live. So Dust Shoot is absolutely insane in the mirror match. Obviously I send back BLS because if I don't send that back, I lose. So he just summons Sorcerer because I guess his his logic here is that I already know what's in his hand, and my life points are kind of low, so he might as well commit to the field now. The only thing I don't get is that he ends up banishing instead of attacking when I already have a dark, two darks actually, in graveyard. So I think it was actually better to attack to lower my life points even more. And here he tributes, which I don't really understand. Like I feel like you just gotta keep your sorcerer on the field and hope that it's enough to get you there. Like I get that the Thunder Dragon does more damage during this specific turn, but I feel like when you're so far behind in the game state that you might as well just commit to the sorcerer. But he decided to go with this play, and I take 16. I'm now at 2,000. And here, I I know that it's game over because I drew into BLS. And I also have sorcerer, so I can just go banish, banish, summon both, game. And even just Deco here is game as well, so yep. That's going to be GG. Here he tells me nice draw on Dust Shoot. And I get it. Like sometimes the opponent just draws what they need to be able to win the game. It happens. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. This is Ghost Rider 15 signing out.